Imagine this for a moment. You're going to live this exact life again. Every single moment, every triumph, every failure, every heartbreak, every joy, every regret, every mistake, over and over and over, for eternity. Would you say yes to that? Would you embrace it? Or would you scream in horror at the thought of reliving your worst moments forever? Most people would run. Most people would immediately start making a mental list of everything they'd change, the relationship they'd avoid, the risk they'd take, the person they'd become instead. But here's the question that tears through all of that. What if you couldn't change anything? What if this life, exactly as it is the only version that exists? Would you still find a way to love it? This isn't just a hypothetical. This is Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, a thought experiment designed to reveal something profound about how you relate to your own existence. And most people fail it, spectacularly, because most people hate their lives. They won't admit it. They'll say they're fine or working on things. But deep down, they're at war with their reality, at war with their past, at war with their choices, at war with who they've become. They carry regret like a second skeleton, heavy, painful, inescapable. If only I had done this differently. If only I hadn't said that. And they believe this lie, that if they could go back, if they could rewrite their story, everything would be better. They would be happier. Life would finally make sense. But Nietzsche understood something they don't. You couldn't have done it differently. Not really. Not in any meaningful sense. Every decision you made was the only decision you could make at that moment with the information you had, the person you were, the circumstances you faced. Every failure was inevitable. Every loss was unavoidable. Every pain was necessary, not because fate is cruel, but because that's how reality works. You are the sum of everything that has happened to you and everything you've done. Remove one piece, change one decision, and you are no longer you. You become someone else entirely, someone who might face different problems, different regrets. The problem isn't that your life could have been different. The problem is that you refuse to love it as it is. And that refusal, that's the real tragedy. Because while you're busy resenting the past, fighting the present, and fantasizing about alternate versions of yourself, you're missing the one thing that could actually set you free. Amor fati, the love of your fate. Not acceptance, not tolerance, not resignation. Love, genuine, fierce, unapologetic love for every single thing that has shaped you. Nietzsche wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." Read that again, slowly. Not merely bear what is necessary, love it. This is the philosophy of a man who lived through hell. Nietzsche's life was a catalog of suffering, failed relationships, lost friendships, professional rejection. His books didn't sell. His ideas were ignored. He died in obscurity, mind destroyed by disease, having achieved none of the recognition he deserved in his lifetime. And yet, he found a way to say yes to all of it. Not because he was delusional, not because he pretended it didn't hurt, but because he understood something most people never will.
You've been fighting a war you cannot win. The war against what has already happened. The war against circumstances you cannot control. The war against the fundamental nature of existence itself. And this war is destroying you. Every time you say "I should have," you pour gasoline on a fire that's already burning. Every time you fantasize about a different past, you make your present more unbearable. Every time you resist what is, you create more suffering. This is the trap. The delusion that keeps people imprisoned. They think regret is useful. They think resistance is strength. They think hating their life will somehow motivate them to change it. But it doesn't work that way. Hating where you are doesn't help you get where you want to go. It just makes you hate the journey. It makes you hate yourself. It makes you incapable of finding beauty in anything because you're too busy searching for what's wrong. And here's what nobody tells you about regret: it's based on an illusion. The illusion that you could have known better. That you could have chosen differently. That somehow, if you'd just been smarter or braver or more aware, everything would have worked out. But that version of you didn't exist. That knowledge wasn't available. That choice wasn't real. You did the best you could with who you were at the time. And who you were at the time was shaped by everything that came before it. Your childhood. Your trauma. Your limitations. Your context. You were always going to make that choice. You were always going to take that path. You were always going to end up here. Not because you're weak. Not because you're broken. But because that's what being human means. We don't have perfect information. We don't have unlimited options. We don't get to see the future before we choose. We stumble forward in the dark, making the best guesses we can, and then we live with the consequences. And the question Nietzsche forces you to confront is this: can you love the stumbling? Can you love the darkness? Can you love the consequences? Can you look at your failures and see the lessons they taught you? Can you look at your heartbreaks and see how they opened you? Can you look at your mistakes and see how they shaped who you are now? Or are you going to spend your entire life wishing you were someone else? Because that's what regret really is. It's a rejection of yourself. A refusal to accept that this is your story. A desperate wish to be anyone other than who you actually are. And as long as you're wishing to be someone else, you can never become who you're meant to be. Nietzsche understood this. He wrote, "I want to learn more and more to see as beautiful what is necessary in things, then I shall be one of those who makes things beautiful." See as beautiful what is necessary. Not what is easy. Not what is pleasant. Not what is fair. What is necessary. What is unavoidable. What simply is. This is the shift. This is the transformation that changes everything. When you stop fighting reality and start finding beauty in it, you become free. Not free from pain. Not free from struggle. But free from the additional suffering you create by resisting what you cannot change. Free to finally live your life instead of mourning the one you think you should have had. But here's where it gets complicated. Here's where most people misunderstand amor fati completely. They think it means giving up. They think it means becoming passive. They think it means accepting terrible circumstances and doing nothing to change them. They think, if I'm supposed to love my fate, why try to improve anything? Why set goals? Why fight for a better life? And this is the paradox that Nietzsche himself wrestled with. His entire philosophy is built on self-overcoming. On striving. On becoming more than you are. On rejecting mediocrity and reaching for greatness. And yet, amor fati seems to say, love everything exactly as it is. Want nothing to be different. So which is it? Do you fight to change your life? Or do you accept it as it is? The answer is both. And neither. Because your fate includes the fighting. Your fate includes the striving. Your fate includes the moments where you refuse to accept your circumstances and battle to change them. Amor fati doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you love the trying. You love the struggle. You love the fact that you're the kind of person who fights even when the odds are against you. It means you love your ambition and your failures. You love your dreams and your disappointments. You love the person who keeps getting up even after being knocked down repeatedly. You love the whole story. Not just the victories. Not just the moments that worked out. But the defeats that taught you resilience. The losses that taught you what matters. The pain that taught you compassion. This is what Nietzsche meant when he said amor fati is the formula for greatness. Not because it makes you passive. But because it makes you unstoppable. Think about it. What's more terrifying than someone who loves the fight even when they're losing? What's more powerful than someone who smiles while being beaten? Someone who can look at their suffering and say, yes, this too. I love this too. That person cannot be broken. That person cannot be defeated. Because they've already accepted the worst possible outcome and found a way to love it anyway. This is the ultimate freedom. Not freedom from suffering, but freedom from the fear of suffering. When you love your fate, all of it, the good and the terrible, you stop being controlled by the fear of what might happen. You stop making choices from a place of avoiding pain. You stop playing it safe because you're terrified of more regret. You become free to risk. Free to fail. Free to try things that might not work out. Free to be fully alive instead of cautiously existing. Because you know that no matter what happens, you'll find a way to love it. You'll find a way to integrate it into your story. You'll find a way to say yes to all of it. But this doesn't happen overnight. This isn't a switch you flip. This is a practice. A discipline. A constant choosing. Nietzsche himself admitted this. He wrote, "Someday I wish to be only a yes-sayer. Someday. Not today. Not yet. But someday." Even Nietzsche, the man who created this philosophy, knew it was aspirational. Something to strive toward. Something to practice in moments of strength and then lose in moments of weakness and then find again. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Every time you catch yourself hating your life, you have a choice. You can keep hating it. Or you can ask, what would it look like to love this? What beauty am I missing? What lesson is hidden here? So let me ask you again. If you had to live this exact life, with all its pain and joy, all its failures and victories, all its regrets and revelations, over and over forever, could you say yes to it? Not "I guess I could tolerate it." Not "I'd make the best of it." Could you love it? Could you want it? Could you embrace every single moment as necessary and beautiful? Most people can't. Most people spend their entire lives at war with themselves. Wishing they were someone else. Somewhere else. Someone else. And they die never having truly lived. Because they were too busy mourning the life they didn't have to notice the one they did. But you don't have to be most people. You can choose differently. Right now. In this moment. You can choose to see your past not as a series of mistakes, but as the only path that could have led you here. You can choose to see your pain not as proof that you're broken, but as evidence that you're alive. You can choose to see your failures not as reasons to give up, but as invitations to try again differently. You can choose a more fatty. Not because it's easy. Not because it makes everything okay. But because it's the only way to truly be free. Free from the prison of regret. Free from the torture of comparison. Free from the delusion that somewhere, someone is living the life you were supposed to have. This is your life. The only one you get. The only one you've ever had. The only one you'll ever have. And it's already here. Already happening. Already shaping you into who you're becoming. You can resist it. You can fight it. You can spend every day wishing it were different. Or you can love it. Fiercely. Completely. Without reservation. You can look at the moments that broke you and say, "Thank you. You made me stronger." You can look at the people who hurt you and say, "Thank you. You taught me boundaries." You can look at the dreams that died and say, "Thank you. You showed me what truly matters." You can look at the person you are, flawed, struggling, imperfect, and say, "I love you. Exactly as you are." This is the practice. This is the work. Not once. Not when everything is perfect. But every single day. In every single moment. Especially the difficult ones. Nietzsche faced a life most people would consider unbearable. Chronic pain. Professional failure. Social isolation. Mental deterioration. Death and obscurity. And yet he found a way to say yes to all of it. He found a way to love his fate so completely that his philosophy would eventually change the world. Not because his circumstances changed, but because he changed how he related to them. And you can do the same. You can stop waiting for your life to be different before you start loving it. You can stop postponing joy until you've fixed everything. You can stop treating this moment like a mistake and start treating it like the only moment you'll ever have. Because it is. This moment. Right here. Right now. This is it. This is your fate. Your story. Your one precious existence. Are you going to spend it wishing it were different? Or are you going to love it exactly as it is? Here's what I want you to do. Think about one thing in your past that you've been carrying as regret. One decision you've been wishing you could change. One moment you've been using to punish yourself. Share it in the comments. Not the whole story. Just the essence of it. I regret. Or I wish I hadn't. Or I can't forgive myself for. And then, after you've named it, I want you to try something. Try saying, "And I love that this happened. Because it made me who I am." You don't have to believe it yet. You don't have to feel it yet. Just try saying it. See what happens. Because Amor Fati isn't about pretending your pain didn't matter. It's about discovering that your pain mattered more than you realized. That it was necessary. That it was, in its own strange way, a gift. We're all carrying regrets. We're all carrying pain. We're all wishing parts of our story had gone differently. But what if they couldn't have? What if this was always the story? What if the only thing standing between you and peace is your refusal to love what already is? You've been given this life. This exact life. With all its chaos and beauty and suffering and joy. You didn't choose all of it. But you can choose how you respond to it. You can resist it. Or you can love it. You can fight your fate. Or you can embrace it. You can spend your life wishing you were someone else. Or you can finally become who you already are. The choice has always been yours. Amor Fati. Love your fate. Not someday. Not when it's easier. Not when it makes more sense. Now. Today. This moment. Because this moment is all you have. And it's already perfect. Not because everything is good. But because everything is necessary. And necessary things, when loved, become beautiful. Are you ready to see the beauty?